would a person who's associated with Black Lives Matter be fair in saying, you know what, Milo kind of does the same thing to us? In other words, we started this movement. It was really about shootings of black citizens by police, about traffic stops, about stuff like that. But because of the other things that other people do, not us, and not traceable to any specific thing that we've said, he denounces us. He says we're turning into a terrorist organization. He associates us with all kinds of things that other people do, possibly feeling that they're inspired by what we do, but certainly not with our blessing. I mean, you want the same thing, right? You only want to be held accountable for what you do and say.
Yeah, but I'm holding them accountable for specific lies they tell people. Like I hold the media account. I did not tell anyone to do anything to Leslie Jones. I cracked a few jokes and wrote a disobliging review. And then some people on the internet posted horrible, ugly, disgusting things about her, which in every interview I've ever been asked about, I have said I find absolutely horrible, right, and distasteful, and I wish people wouldn't do it, okay? But it's not my job to police the rest of the world, and I'm not going to get involved in that because then I just, have my own set of what's okay and what's not okay. I think everything's okay, and people, that means that there are consequences for free speech. What you have to be held accountable for what you say, but you only have to be accountable for what you say. And Black Lives Matter tells lies to people and gins them up and winds them. I mean, there's no other movement in the country that is consistently followed by violence and bloodshed. Well, why is this happening? They're not just like innocent Presbyterians wandering around saying Jesus was cool. They are ginning people up, telling people lies. What I say about Black Lives Matter. Well, what I say about Black Lives Matter in the book, to be specific, is that if they really cared about Black lives, they would focus on other things. They were, if you're a black activist, right? You are. What I say two things actually. One is that they're totally ineffective and actually just counterproductive because all that has come from Black Lives Matter is black neighborhoods in flames and nothing else, and a bit more racial division and hatred and hostility, right? And second of all, that their priorities are wrong. Okay, that's what I say in the book. Their priorities are wrong. If they actually cared about black lives, if you're a black activist, you've got money, you're getting some money from George Soros, whatever you're doing, and your priority is to stop black people being killed. You don't go for the police. The police are like the number one thing saving black lives in this country. They're the ones, and where the police withdraw as a result, in the Ferguson effect, more black people get killed. If you really believed that you wanted to save black lives, if your priority was really fewer dead black bodies, you'd do two things. One of them is that you would advocate for the defunding of Planned Parenthood. And the second is that you would support the police. And instead, Black Lives Matter gins up hatred and violence toward the police and then steps back and pleads innocence afterwards. And this is my observation.
I subject a lot of things to that kind of critique. I mean, for example, if Donald Trump wanted to save American lives, save the most possible American lives, going after homegrown domestic terrorism or even terrorism brought in by people who have refugee or immigrant status, that's not a particularly effective way to save American lives. That's not how people die in America.
No, but
Since
I don't
9/11,
think
there's been a tiny number.
But the stated purpose of Black Lives Matter is to save black lives. The clue's in the name. Donald Trump doesn't say that his stated purpose is to save American lives. What Donald Trump says in his speeches, as he just did in Poland, is that he wants to save Western civilization. And to do that, and that is a conversation about values, a conversation about who we have and who we don't have in our countries. And for me, as a gay man, and I was there at Pulse nightclub in Orlando just afterwards. I've come from London, which is a complete horror story. As a gay man, I am very comfortable with the so-called Muslim ban. I am very comfortable with, a suspicion of people coming from Middle Eastern cultures that want to murder me and oppress my mom and my female friends. Very comfortable with that. Donald Trump's stated purpose, as we now know in that fantastic speech in Poland, is to save Western civilization. Well, if he wants to save Western civilization, what's the number one threat to it? Islam. So for me, he's doing a good job. Black Lives Matter, as they kind of advertise in the name, want to save black lives. Well, if they really believe that, they should be supporting the police, not inciting murder, not inciting not standing by innocently claiming to just be an anti-racism organization and to be fighting structural, racism and all blah 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 blah. And meanwhile, ginning people up to kill police officers.